And we are recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the week 1 draw. Matches this week have been seeded. We had 3 seeding pots. We had a seed 1 pot, a seed 2 pot, and then a seed 3 and 4 pot. So it's basically two people in the match are from the 3 and 4 pot. One person is from the 1 pot and one person is from the 2 pot. And I'm not always going to tell you who that was. I will say that we used mostly own gets from last season to seed people who are coming in this year. There was a small disadvantage for being new. I would say more people who are new just got put in 2 than 1, even if I suspect they may end up at 1. And we used Learned League stats, other kind of, whether that's trash tournament results or other things like that in order to seed those people. So we got some spicy ones, but the most important thing I should say is it's not just based on finish from last season. So if you notice that it appears to be the case that maybe somebody from who is it? Gotta find the okay. Sorry, but yeah, if you notice that somebody who was maybe in like level 3 last season appears to have been seeded at a 2, that is possible because we used own gets as the main feature. So if that all makes sense, then away we go. Feel free to, yell out or do weird, graduation-y things when your name is read. I'm gonna go ahead and share screen and we can go to it.
You have a thing, don't forget. All the time.
So as everybody can see my bracket here, right? We're just going to reveal these group by group. And again, these are in the seat order, so not any other sort of order. Our first game will reveal our first player is actually Aiden Ling, the lowbrow Mimir coordinator and one of the members of the setting team for OQL USA. He's come on board, and there is one of the people you can see on your screen right now, Chris Miller. He's going to be in seat 4 in that game, along with Dustin Resch and Rishi Sangani. That should be a pretty spicy one right off the bat with a British player coming in. They're all a bit wildcardy. We have a lot more British players this season, I think, which should be kind of fun as well. Game 2. Jasmine's here. I saw Jasmine. We also have Warren Grace, Jennifer Cummings, and Gary Knightley, both of whom are new players this season. Jasmine, of course, had a really nice run last season and probably will look to be following that up. Person who could have an outside chance at making the end of year finals, I think. Game 3, Peter Rubin, Angela Batiste, and Leanne Roberts, all new to the league, and McKinney Sizemore, who probably needs no introduction. He plays just about everything there is, and he'll be in seat 3 in that one. Welcome to the game, Leanne. I know I'm glad to have her here. She's one of my oldest friends in the trivia universe, and glad to have her on board. Game 4 includes Andre Chotard, Heidi Eichler, Trevor Schultz, and Jason Sterlacki. Of course, Jason, a former teachers tournament winner, Heidi Eichler, a new player. Andre and Trevor had various results last year. Trevor had a really nice run of things last season, so that should be an interesting one. 5, Rob Dimitri, Bern Samko, Jeff Segura-Tan, and the new player Ali Kallman Wagner. The other 3 were in the league last season and were all tough in various points. I think they all won a match at some point. So that's, a nice group there. Lots of different knowledge. Of course, Jeffrey, famously the notebook champion of OQL. I think most would agree. 6 has 2 very big names in the highbrow world in Tim Polly and Ryan Rosenberg. It's also got friendly coordinator for main OQL, Tim Rich, who had a really nice season in Pop Solos last time, and British player Lewis Jones. All of these people are very experienced trivia players and all very good as well. That looks like a bad match. Relatively speaking, this looks like a tough one, though I would not want, there's a couple coming up that maybe even tougher from that standpoint. Match 7 is our founder, John Stitcher, has joined the league. This is the this is the Viper taking a hop in Top Gun scenario. So you get to gun for the owner if you want to. He'll be in against Chris Sinensi, Doug Barrand, who's new this season, former Jeopardy champion, and Lincoln Hamilton, who was really, really formidable last season. 8, this is kind of one that I was talking about. It's Kelly Rabin and Ben Mcintyre. Ben Mcintyre, of course, the OQL Pop Solos 1 champion. Also, Gilles Bourque and Rajan Tambahali. Gilles was in the league last season, and Rajan is new. Next is it's Amanda Walker versus what I believe are 2 Brits, possibly in the form of Jack Sterling and Tim McCaig, along with Jake Karwoski. Amanda is one of several members of the team 4 out of 5 Cats who did receive 1 seeds. I can reveal that, but I think anybody who looked at last season's standings would know that too. Question 10. I'm so used to reading. Matchup 10. Here's Susanna Brooks, Craig Bogue, Anu Kashyap, and Cheyenne Fletcher. Probably some very different expertises in that match. Cheyenne and Susanna don't, I think, have a lot of overlap, so that should be kind of interesting. Next, Cheyenne, a really strong sports player, for instance. Susanna, no slouch in that area. This matchup, just for giggles, contains 2 of my oldest people I've known in trivia in the form of Dave Leach, who is new this season, and Solomon Stein, who is not. It also contains Josh Levitt, who had a really nice run last season, and the new player Carlos Hernandez Fisher. 12, we have our ever-loving admin Nicole Newlist. We have Omar Mahmood, and we have Bob Ha, both of whom had really nice runs last year, along with, believe, new player Mark Lynch. 13 is where we find Jeff Frank and Stan Jastrzebski. Stan has left Indiana, leaving that all to Jeff, I suppose, in this matchup over the last year. So this will not be an Indiana championship at this time. It also includes Greg Sandukas from, they were in D1 and then they're in D2, and I forget their names. This is always fun. I shouldn't even try. It's the team with Dan Wachtel and Faria Ali on it. Their name has completely vanished from my mind. And finally, Liz Hudson on that team, or in that match, returning. Matchup 14 features Ryan Leptak, great sports player, Sean Mayers, Rachel Schumann, and Greg Finot. Greg kind of, this was his first OQL, I think, tournament was Pop Solos 1, and he had a really nice one. Rachel Schumann, also one of our admins and a great person to play against. Matchup 15 features Molly Fisher, Addie Lewis. The 1 seed there is Dan Cohen, and Hans von Walter is in the 2 in that slot. So that's a pretty tough one. Hans, of course, a noted expert in a lot of facets of pop culture. Cohen as well. Addie Lewis with the Scottish knowledge. Molly is new this season. Welcome to the league. Apologize in advance for just having admitted some people who were sitting there for a while. 16, at least one very big name here in the form of Ian Toms. Ian Toms, one of the best scorers in basically everything in Britain, also is in the top 10 in OQL USA, playing with Crash Test Smarties. It's the one with Smarty in it. Took me a second there. Yeah, playing with Crash Test Smarties. We also have new player Liz Quesnell, a name that I have never known how to pronounce, I must confess, along with Zach Nolick returning and Nick Mortimer from the UK. Ian is a Brit to watch for sure in this tournament, even though it's American-centric. 17, we have Yvette Barton, Adam Freed. There's Yogesh Raud, of course, a 1 seed, not surprising anyone, and Chris Abrams. Matchup 18 includes frequent board commenter and community member Matthew Marcus, also known as Mabuza der Spieler, which of course helped everybody get a question right in OQL Lowbrow Mimir when it came up as an answer question. Jim Mudrak is there as well, along with Tucker Warner, who's the 1 seed there, and the new player Aaron Teets. Here's someone I'm looking forward to debuting. That's Carrie Milowicki, who is the sister of Ryan Milowicki, who had a really nice run last season. She will have to face some toughies, though, and Trey Kelso, new player Ben Bass, and Martin Podorowski. At 20, we have a cats match. This is Drew Sheeler versus Dylan Minerick alongside Patricia Riley and Brian Rafferty. This is a very, very tough match. I really can't say anything other than this is a very, very tough match. Drew had perhaps a little bit of a weaker season than I anticipated for him last season, so he may just be back with a vengeance based on the content areas or things like that. So it's not an easy draw for Dylan. By the same token, it's not an easy draw for anyone else because Dylan is there. Matchup 21. We have Adam Gordon, Alex Darby, Patrick Friel, and Tracy Mack. Adam Gordon's a member of Larry's. Patrick Friel's a member of Fesbians. Alex and Tracy both new to the league this season. Patrick Friel, of course, one of the best quizzers in the world in all formats. Matchup 22, we have Sarah Del Villano and Jade Ryan. That is a Crabs match, or at least an ex-Crabs match. That also includes Kent Buxton and John Walker. These are all people who have been playing OQL since season 1 and basically have played everything that I'm aware they can. John, I think, is new to Pop Solos this season. Kent had a really nice season last time. 23 includes Jim Dean, Will Swigert, Matt Takamoto, and Matt Marcotte. That is Matt Marcotte will be the 1 seed there, and he's facing a couple people who are completely new to the league in Dean and Takamoto, along with Will Swigert, who is one of the highest finishing Brits last season. 24, we have Charlie Fritz, a 4 out of 5 Cats member. We have Vincenzo Tagle, one from the Philippines, Connie Kellers, and Randall Ang. All of these are returning players, and all of them are tough in their own way, for sure. The halfway mark features Caitlin Joyce, Josh Height, Kevin Kushel, and Meredith McVitie. Caitlin, Josh, and Kevin were all in the league last season. Josh had a really nice tournament. I think he finished level 3, may have even been level 2. I can't remember 100%. Caitlin, of course, also really tough and a bit of a youth correspondent. She's a lot younger than me, at least, and as a result, sometimes has an advantage on some of the more modern quads. 26, we have one of our finalists from last season, David Plotkin. He'll be facing Andrew McKechnie, Shannon Jameson, and Nitish Kadia. 27, we have another top player in Jason Hess. He'll be facing Daniel Jude, who's new, Lyle Brenner, who's new, and Elaine Zadaran, who is a returning player. Also had a couple of referrals. Thanks, Elaine. 28, it's the experts Ariel Watsky. We have Greg Zethner, we have Kabri Chakrabarti, and we have Brian Lipinski. Brian's the seed there, had a really nice one last season. One of the writing duo for Saint X Trivia. We have his partner coming up soon. 29 is Tim Edwards, James McGuire. James McGuire is a sometimes member of the Tecumseh team. Daniel Fullard from Great Britain, and Pam Mueller has decided to join us this time instead of being a reader. Really interested in seeing what she can do. She's currently 1-0 in Pop Solos, having won the demo game against Colby Burnett. So not at all a joke. not someone you'd like to see if you like winning. Matchup 30, we have Pamela Winters. Pamela's here. I saw her. Josh Wood, Donald O'Driscoll, and Ryan Milowicki. Ryan, of course, Ryan's someone who I think is in contention to win the tournament potentially. And then again, it's week 1, so everybody's in contention to win the tournament. 31, speaking of Colby Burnett, there he is. Another cat in a seed. We also have Gwen Abrams, Danielle Stillman, and Nick Salyers, 2 of whom are new. Gwen is a longtime member of formerly Nerd Immunity, now the Zoom where it happens. Matchup 32, Alan Kreisel. We're taping this for you, Alan. Hi. Bennett Rafel, the seed there, Michael Rankins, and John Presloyd. Those are all returning players and all really strong in their own right. 33, here's Russ Friedewald, Lauren Menke, Choyan Mandrakar of the Housewives, and Phil Sanford of the Slew. These are all, Russ and Phil are guys that I've done podcasts with in the past bunch of times, both really good guys. Choyan was on Jeopardy at the exact same time I was on 500 Questions. So that's kind of a fun link we randomly have. I will always remember that. This is not an autobiography. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm saying whatever comes to mind. You can tell. Anyway. 34. Here's Dan Burgess. Dan was the unluckiest player last season. I think we can all agree he had an extremely high number of own gets, but still, I think was level 4. He did win the level 4 tournament and got a medal out of it, but at the same time, I think was a little bit hard done by just by the format in some ways. He'll be playing against Kelsey Barcombe, our friendly coordinator, Mike Berger, and Mark Grenier. 35 is Libby Banks, John Chapman, Henry Heron, and Katie Sikelski. Hi, Katie. You have been at the bottom of my stack the whole time doing whatever you're doing. So I've just like seen you like moving back and forth out of the corner of my eye. So there's your match. Yeah, Henry, really nice player. And the rest of them, of course, all formidable in their own right. 36 has the two Kyles, Kyle Kahan and Kyle Webb, both Jeopardy players. Mary Redling and Adam Holquist is here. Adam, of course, had a really nice time last season and is, as far as I can tell, a professional musician, which always helps on pop music. 37 has some really well-known people. We have Tejas Raje, fresh off his Mimir's Well Championship. Congratulations, Tejas. We also have Jonathan Oakes of Trivial Warfare. We have Tony Strissel, and we have Paul Paquette of the Trivia Hall of Fame. So that is a celebrity-laden round there. Tejas is new to Pop Solos this season. Tejas is good, and everyone else there is good too. That is a match I would love to watch. I'll probably be trying to grab it to read as soon as I can. Anyway, 38. Michael Cullen, Scarlett Sims, Greg Peterson, and Dave Mattingly. Dave is new to the league. Dave's been around Trivia, Learned League, all that kind of stuff for a long time. People who don't know him or people who don't know him may be aware of the Scorigami Twitter, which he created. That is a thing that Dave Mattingly did. Greg Peterson, of course, our reading MVP in season 1. Scarlett, great player herself. She's on Taco Belly Rubs. Michael Cullen is new to the league. British. Had to mute you. Somebody was chopping onions, I think, or celery or something like that. 39. We have Will Gilbert, Brandon Bidlack, Chris Ottolino, and Jimmy Lee. Ottolino and Lee are both members of Wednesday Academic Purists, so that is an intra-squad match. Those are always fun. 40, Dan Feitel, speaking of WAP. Also have Monia Day. We have someone who many of us have gotten familiar with over the past few weeks and year, Veronica Vici Vatican, who is, of course, a Jeopardy Tournament of Champions finalist, and along with Robin Falco, member of our playtest team for Main League and a lovely person to play a game with. 41 features Ben Kitchen, someone who I only became aware of recently at one of Bill Patchak's trash tournaments. I found him to be very terrifying, and he backed that up last season with a really nice run. Dave Gregson, Alistair Bell, and Jennifer Blanton, who is likewise very terrifying, especially on certain kinds of content, is there as well. Best theater player in the field. If it were more of the distro, she would win a lot more matches. 42. The best is tough. If Matt Marcotte's watching, he's probably going, "Are you sure?" And I'm not going to make a matchup to determine, but it's just the best I know. Anyway, 42. We have Steve Hours, Sean Webb, Katie Proctor, and Andy Saunders. Katie's here. Katie was one of the first into chat. Hi, Katie. Katie had a run up to D1 last season. She will be facing Andy, Steve, and Sean there, all of whom are strong in their own right. Sean was a big name on University Challenge the last season that ran. 43 is Lauren Cusatello, Ben Rothenberg, the tennis journalist, Abra Belke, and Steve Homer. 44 features reader extraordinaire Armand Sanchez, Aaron Wegner, Mike Olson, the stats guy, thank you, Mike, and Marin Edabari, who is the other half of the St. X trivia team. Marin also made a run up to D1 last season and had a really nice tournament. 45 features Eric Lee, Dave Legler, AJ Mass, and Chris Rance, all veterans of various forms of the trivia scene. Eric Lee, one of the is Canadian and I think appropriately one of the nicest people in the trivia world, and I say that at every opportunity that I get. 46 features mostly new players: Christine Saraceno Izet, Colin McCartney, Aiden Young, and Joe Wynn. That is, I think, maybe an all debut group. If Joe played last season, I apologize. I'm pretty sure none of the others did. 47. Lydia Di Sabatino and Gavagan. I think it's Gavagan. And Gav is what she goes by, and then the very well known Shane Whitlock and Muffy Baracco, two of the most gregarious people in the trivia community and in trivia in general. Should be a very, very fun game. Big personalities. 48. Tarn Allen, Harshit Sahay, Dan Gibson, who of course had a really nice run last season, and Rob Greenhill. Tarn was really strong in season 1 as well. 49, one of the newer, I think, people who may give people a run for their money is Brick Barrientos, long time trash veteran. We also have Jason Myrowitz, Jack Russo, and Mark Cooper. Mark Cooper's from the UK. And Myrowitz had a very up and down season last season, as I recall. 4 and then in 50 we have Rob Sobchak of the writing team, Ben Chadwick, Matt Jones, and Mike Duvall. So the question, who follows Mike Duvall in this draw? Nobody. He's the very last player in at number 200. He was here in the chat and was waiting the whole time, so thank you for doing that. Matt Jones, of course, a known crossworder, and Ben Chadwick, the probably best player, at least typically the strongest player on one of our D4 teams. So those are our matchups. You should be getting emails with all of those tomorrow morning. I will authorize Will to send them, but he may be asleep because he's British. I'm going to just re-scroll real quick. We'll give you the first 18 right there. Colby just came in. Colby, you got you're 31 right there. So. There's a cats match. Dylan has to play Drew. So yeah, there's the first 17. Scrolling just really quick. I'm gonna stop recording. I will share again. Sorry. That didn't do it.